Mill has all of a sudden begun hating me and it is making things so awkward. My relationship with my Mill has always been fairly good, up until recently that is. I will leave a TLDR at the bottom as this might be a bit long. It has begun with the snide comments and digs at where I am from. They are from a seaside town and I am from a large city, about 40 minutes away. I hope this doesn't turn into a rant, but it has started to annoy the living hell out of me as I just don't enjoy being around my partner's family anymore. One instance was at a time when the Mill asked my partner and I out to a gig with her husband. The hall that the gig took place in the town is very small, so it got warm fairly quickly, and my partner took his jacket off. He was looking for somewhere to put it, but was worried about leaving it unattended as he was worried that something might get stolen. My Mill then chimed in saying, "Not in insert town name. We don't steal in insert town name." She was saying this whilst glaring at me and really emphasizing the town's name and the word steal. As you can imagine, I was annoyed as my city is filled with friendly people, and although had a bad track record many years ago, it has changed for the better. It was an attack on the fact that I am not from the same town and was insinuating that the people in my city are thieves. Funnily enough, my car wing mirror was ripped off and stolen whilst parked on our street for the night in this town. Never happened in my city. We then went for a girls' night out with Mill and a few other female family members and the topic of going on night outs came about. I jokingly mentioned that my partner needs to take bread with him to leave a trail as he often forgets his way home as he often comes home at 5 a.m., sometimes whilst being out at 2 p.m. the previous day. He ends up in rather questionable places, including at female neighbor's house with her friends for 4 hours talking about sex and her sexual exploits, which he didn't see anything wrong with until I switched the roles. She clearly wasn't happy with that, and now a family curse has been made in spite of me, which is basically an excuse for my partner to go out until all hours in the morning. The curse is that the family likes to go out for drinks and often get carried away. My partner is 28 years old and sometimes uses the curse as an excuse for his actions. His mother now insists on bringing it up on every family meal whenever partner has been out until 5 a.m. She does this whilst staring at me, which, again, makes me feel so uncomfortable. If my mum found out that I was going out until those hours in the morning, she would have something to say to me. She definitely would not be happy with me doing that. The next big memorable moment was at this New Year's and partner and I were around at her house. I can't remember what exactly the conversation was about, but I do remember not saying much. Mill then stood up, walked over to my partner, pointed at me, and then said, "If she gives you any bother, son, you let me know and I will sort her out." Now, any other day with anyone else, I would find that funny, but with everything else that had been going on, I didn't appreciate that. She was trying to hide the tone, but there was a serious ring behind it. She has now started asking me questions, not letting me answer, and talking over me. Recently, I helped look after the 4-year-old niece at their house with partner. Mill came back and the Phil asked if we wanted to stay for dinner, but we already had plans. Mill turned to my partner, and quite quietly, said, "I could have ordered you a pizza." I asked my partner if Mill and I were okay, and he said that nothing has been said or mentioned to him. He hasn't noticed anything either, but said he would look out. However, I think his mum is quite sly and often makes little comments when he is not watching/paying attention or busy. I am starting to get really annoyed with the constant little digs here and there. I don't want there to be a rift between the family, but I can feel my temper build up. Specifically to the curse, as it is just ignorance to ignore that your son is going out, frequently, until 5 a.m. leaving his partner alone. It also means when he gets up the next morning, he is too hungover for us to do things together on the one day that we have fully together. I just don't think she likes the idea that her only son is dating someone from the city I am from, and I think she was hoping it would just be a small fling and we would separate after the pandemic. She was fine with me up until I moved in, and that is when it has gotten significantly worse. Is anyone else had to deal with something similar? If so, what did you do about it? Comment. You are deflecting. She is not the problem. You haven't, so that stays out drinking until 5 a.m. and talking about with other women. He's either a serious alcoholic, cheating on you, or both. But you are here complaining about his mother. You are avoiding the real issues here. I hope you take some time to reflect on your relationship. This is not a good man and you will not find happiness with him. I smell a rat. I am betting that your partner has been telling her things. I'm sure he has been complaining about when you get upset or paints himself as the victim. He has been stirring the pot. My husband did the same thing. Tell just enough of a truth to get his mom pissed at me. After a few seconds he will tell the rest of the story. Didn't matter. She took the first statement and attacked me over and over. I caught him. Daughter was failing 2 classes. And he told her that I grounded her from doing extracurricular activities with her friends until she got her grades up. After she started berating me about it, he then throws in a little meekly, that the reason she was failing her classes was because she wasn't doing her homework. That if she had turned them in, she would have had at least a B in her classes. I wasn't about the grade, it was her not doing her homework. It is annoying. Some of the things you could say is, now, why would you say that, Blanche? Well, that was just rude. Oh, no worries. Helps very good at sorting me out with a grin and a wink. When she asks you a question and then starts talking over you, just smile and wait. Eventually she will ask, well. Tell her you were waiting for her to answer her own question like she normally does, because you need to know what your opinion is. As far as the curse, BF is an adult. His mommy, and yours, should not be telling an adult what he/she can do. This is actually a BF issue and not an issue with his mother. I think you are right. She doesn't like you because you are trying to take away her little boy. It has nothing to do with where you are from and probably nothing personal. She is smart enough to mention it to him, yet, so is trying to make you uncomfortable. Things you can do to combat this: quit going over there as often, be busy with friends, plan date nights, only see them in public, rarely go out for girls' night, call her out, as mentioned above. Do not get pregnant. Do not marry this man until he gets his drinking under control. Next story 2. Has made it hard to bond with father-in-law. I recently lost my father. My new father-in-law since then has taken on this role of second dad to me, and tbh I feel like I'm one of his own. I have so much love and respect for him. After all, he raised my partner to be an amazing man, and I don't think I can thank him enough for that. My partner is truly a kind and caring soul, not one bad bone in his body. For Father's Day, a day that I was dreading for a while, knowing that it would be a first without my own dad, his dad reminded me that although I lost mine, he hopes that I know I will always have another dad, and that made me cry. Unfortunately, his wife, my new mother-in-law, doesn't like this. She goes out of her way to ensure that there is no bond or relationship, and my partner was the first person to point out her attitude towards it. A part of me feels as though I must respect that boundary, another part of me feels as though it's not fair that I must have this cold, distant relationship with a father figure to spare her feelings. I do not see my father-in-law in any other way, just a dad, so it kinda hurts to see my mother-in-law act this way. I'm not surprised on the other hand, cause the way she treats her only daughter is quite depressing. She has admitted to my partner of how envious she gets sometimes of her daughter and husband's close bond. An incident that scared me once was this past Father's Day. Partner's family was at a cookout and invited me. At the cookout there was long games. I've never seen them nor played them before, and father-in-law taught me how to play, and then his sons, and got into teams and played. He kept cheering me on, and was truly a wholesome moment until, mother-in-law all of a sudden wanted father-in-law to drop everything and eat. She kept calling his name as she's in our eye view over 20 times, at some point I realized he was ignoring her to play with us. It had gotten to a point that others around her noticed her change in behavior, even had a relative tell her it's okay, the food won't go anywhere, but she kept calling for him, and with a disappointment look on his face he went to eat. Later on he voiced to my partner that his mother's behavior was embarrassing and he was simply trying to play with his kids. Another instance, both partner and father got sick at the same time and was taken to the hospital. Upon returning home, mother-in-law was too busy to pick up their meds, and it had been days since it was prescribed to them, so partner asked if I could get it for them and I did. When arriving to house, mother-in-law was on her way out to the salon and scolded me for getting the meds. I was confused because I figure this was something important and I was doing a favor for partner. To be honest, I apologize for going all over the place in this post, but my emotions are high. Her behavior sometimes scares me. One minute I'm like a daughter to her, especially in public, then behind closed doors she makes it known she can't stand me. Maybe I'm crossing boundaries, maybe she knows something about father-in-law that I don't. Whatever it is, maybe I should back away from him and her. Comment. She is not normal. Stand strong in being you. She is using tactics to emotionally manipulate others. She sounds jealous of how personable her own husband is and he recognizes that his wife is acting badly. Ignore Mill as much as possible. Gray rock her. Basically just say oh my, oh, in reply to her and do your own thing. If you want to chill with Phil, y'all can invite him over. It sounds like he will do as L with Mill as he see fits. This is not in any way your fault. I don't understand why you are scared. Are you afraid she will hurt you physically? She sounds like a twisted person who is jealous of you and other women, including her own daughter, and is willing to try to sabotage any relationship you have with at least her husband. And she doesn't like to have other plans she's in the middle of interfered in by anyone like you, like getting the medicine which she didn't get for some probably sick reason. Mill is NC with me and the kids. The saddest part is the people we live that we can no longer have a relationship with. Phil has always been the sweetest and most supportive person. He's in all of his kids' corners, including us in-laws. He cried last time he saw me. I got the biggest hug, but that was years ago. I genuinely miss him, and my youngest nieces. I miss the relationship I thought I had with my younger Sil. I helped her welcome her second child into the world. I thought we were close. I was wrong. Uneasy face. Mill is in control of adult children and has no problem hurting people, and unfortunately the Phil is collateral damage in her anger.